Dear Zontians, welcome to a session on Zonta Says No to Violence Against Women. This webinar is a part of the Zonta Advocacy series taking place during this biennium. And today we will be inspired for 1 hour and 15 minutes. And the first woman on stage will, of course, be our president, Sala. Welcome, Sala. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Christina, and thank you for welcoming me to this webinar. So, dear Zontians, dear fellow advocates, welcome to this important and inspiring gathering. I'm, of course, truly honored to open today's session, and where we unite under the banner of Zonta Says No to Violence Against Women. Campaign that is not only a call to action, but to the core of our advocacy work under Zonta International Strategic Plan. Violence against women and girls is a global crisis. It happens more often than we think, closer than we imagine, and it affects lives every day and every night. It's one of the most widespread violations of human rights, and it must end. This is why Zonta Says No, as Zonta's proprietary campaign, has been lifted up by a new working group as one of our biennial goals for this biennium. The campaign is not only how we raise awareness, but it's advocacy campaign to advocate for change, to support survivors. But more than that, it is how we mobilize our global network from local clubs to international leadership to take meaningful, visible action which leads to long-term, life-changing improvements. One of the key ambitions is that every Zonta club participates in the 16 days of activism because while violence happens year-round, this campaign gives us a powerful, united, and unified moment to raise our voices, share our stories, and demand change. And today we will hear how are we doing that. But it's also leading with courage, creativity, and compassion. You will see how Zontians are engaging youth, confronting online abuse, using public art to spark dialogue, etc. These projects which are discussed today are part of the broader strategy, and I encourage every district and club to develop their own. It is important to think, what do you want to achieve? How will you do it? When will you act? And how will you measure your impact? It's about the message we send and the change we can create. I want to thank the Zonta Says No working group, Christina, Lisa, Tanya, and Shanas for their leadership and vision, as well as Bobby as this biennium's advocacy advisor, and Shannon from the headquarter team for working hard for this purpose. This is the first time we've had a dedicated working group for this campaign, and I'm proud to have supported its formation. Thank you for choosing to be here today, not only the presentators, but the audience. And I hope that you will be inspired, you will learn, and you will be heard. Together, we are stronger, and together we say no to violence against women. And now it's my pleasure to hand over to Christina again, who will share more about the campaign, the working group's mission, and the incredible stories we've gathered from around the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Sala. So happy to that you can be with us for this webinar today. We know your schedule, we know you are busy. I will repeat some of what you were talking about. Violence against women and girls happens, as you said, more often than you think, closer than you can imagine, every day, every night, all year round. So, everybody, thank you for choosing today to be inspired and to gain new ideas and new thoughts on how we can not only make ourselves visible, but also get our message out there. My name is Kristina Rylander Bergqvist, and together with Tanja Tagwerker, Shanaz Nathani, Tanja Huge, and Lisa Burton, whom you will hear from shortly, we form the Zonta Says No working group. New for this biennium, an honorary mission, so thanks to you, President Sala. What do we want as a group? Well, we want to encourage districts and clubs to develop a strategy for their Zonta Says No work. A simple strategy for what you want to do, how you want to do it, when during the year you want to do it, and how you follow up on your work. How do you see that things going forward? How do you measure your results? And how do you plan for next step to come up to the next level? Me and my group, we started planning this webinar by reading hundreds of Share Your Stories, and we are so impressed by your work. So much good is being achieved around the world. So thank you very, very much for that. Because your club and your districts are important, and your commitment means a lot, not only to Zonta, but above all to those who have no voice. So with our knowledge and our courage, we dare to speak up. We dare to make demands and contribute to creating a better world for women and girls. But I think that we can be even better at one thing, and that is generously sharing our experiences, tips, and ideas with each other. Because what works in one part of the world may also work in another part. And that is exactly what we are going to do today. And can we get a better start to our planning of the 16 days of activist campaign? I don't think so. We all know that violence happens all year around. But we also know that the campaign is an important opportunity to raise our voices. As Salah said, our goal is for all clubs around the world to participate in the campaign in some way. And today, we will be inspired and empowered for our mission to say no against violence against women and girls. Of course, this session, as you know, will be recorded so that you can listen to it afterwards, maybe by your own or maybe at a club meeting. And in addition, tomorrow, you will all receive an email with contact details for those who have shared their stories today, and also with some really good tips. So thank you once more for joining us today. And with that, I will hand over to my colleague, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Kristina. And thank you, President Sala, for joining us today and for establishing the Zonta Says No working group. Once again, welcome, fellow Zontians. Our goal today, as has been mentioned, is to provide you with inspiration as well as some practical tips on how to raise awareness and drive action to create change. You will hear from 3 different clubs exploring how they came to select a particular advocacy project, what impacted them, what impact they had in their community, and what advice they would share with other clubs who want to do something similar. In between these conversations, I will speak briefly about different aspects of advocacy and highlight some actions from clubs and districts from around the world. So let's begin. Let's talk briefly about allyship. Allyship can be a key component of the way clubs and districts expand their engagement within their communities. Zonta clubs have worked with like-minded organizations, predominantly male organizations, schools, and sports teams to broaden awareness and advocate for change. The importance of engaging men and boys in this effort to end gender-based violence was best described by Tony Porter. If you'll recall, he was our speaker in the December 2024 Zonta Says No Summit. He eloquently spoke about the unhealthy ways in which boys and men are socialized and how that needs to be addressed if we want to end the cycle of gender-based violence. Here are some examples of how Zonta clubs have partnered with sports teams, coaches, athletes, as well as male legislators and predominantly male organizations to raise awareness about gender-based violence. There are many Zonta clubs that partner with professional, college, and even high school sports teams in raising awareness about gender-based violence. Partnerships with male sports teams can be particularly impactful. For example, the Zonta Club of Schwarzwitz Hall in Germany wrote in their Your Story that they had partnered with the Unicorn football team, resulting in both the men and women's team sharing an Instagram post during the 16 days of activism that reached more than 30,000 followers across Germany and Europe. As multi-time German Bowl winners, the Unicorns' involvement brought significant visibility to the Zonta Says No campaign. This partnership was particularly impactful as football, a male-dominated sport, took a strong stance against violence against women. The initiative raised awareness not only through social media, but also within the local community as many residents approached club members after reading about it in the newspaper. The collaboration was developed through discussions with the Unicorn Club president and PR manager, emphasizing the importance of advocacy in sports. The campaign banner and media coordination was managed by the club, ensuring a unified message. An example of how a club worked with male government officials to raise awareness and advocate for change can be found in the Share Your Story from the Zonta Club of Parker County in Texas, the USA. The event featured photos from the county judge, commissioners, and district attorney, followed by a presentation about the 16 days of advocacy and Zonta local and international initiatives. The county judge expressed interest in further collaboration and requested a future meeting to discuss Zonta projects in details. The club also had a dedicated meeting with male senators to push for legal reforms against child marriage. I want to make a special note regarding the 3 districts in Australia. During the 16 days of advocacy in 2024, it was reported that 100% of Zonta clubs across Australia's 3 districts participating, demonstrating Zonta's advocacy in impactful ways. Clubs collaborated with other Zonta clubs, like-minded nonprofits, businesses, and local and state government agencies, reinforcing their commitment to drive change, and as always, in orange. At this time, I would like to turn the next portion of the program over to my colleague Shanice, who will speak in depth with the club about their successful partnership. Take it away, Shanice.
Thank you, Lisa, and hello, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome Zonchen Mayan Pilpil, President, and Zonchen Edna, President-elect of the Zonta Club of Nueva Vizcaya in Philippines. In just 5 short years, this young club has shown what passion and purpose can achieve, successfully organizing a powerful forum to confront the urgent issue of online sexual abuse and exploitation of children. The forum aimed to raise awareness among students about critical issues which includes crimes like live stream abuse and trafficking of minors. It also addressed the circulation of digital materials depicting child sexual abuse, along with the legal protections available under Philippine law. I'm sure you're as excited as I am to learn more about what motivated this initiative. And I hope the insights from this discussion will enthuse you to undertake something similar in your own clubs.
Good evening, Shanaz. Good evening, President Sala. Good evening and good morning to everyone who is with us tonight and today. Good evening, Zonchans all over the world. Greetings from the Philippines.
So to start off, Mayan, could you tell us what inspired your club to organize this forum? And why did you choose to focus on online sexual abuse and early marriage in particular?
Well, the Zonta Club of Nueva Vizcaya was inspired to conduct this forum as it aligns with our Mind campaign, the men's initiative to end violence against women campaign. This campaign was actually launched during this biennium 16 Day of Activism, based on the observation that while we consistently empower women, inform them of their rights, and provide support systems, we often overlook the importance of educating men, who are frequently the perpetrators of such violence.
Edna? Edna, I think you are muted.
Sorry. So, our Mind Vow campaign seeks to address this gap by engaging and educating men, not only as potential offenders, but as vital allies in the fight to end violence. Our goal is to empower both women and men to stand together against all forms of violence. I firmly believe that if men and women unite in this cause, agree to reject violence, then our mission as Zontians to eliminate violence against women and girls becomes more attainable.
One significant case in our province involved a perpetrator who committed these offenses while residing abroad. Using social media platform, he facilitated the trafficking of victims by enticing men to engage in such exploitative acts. Our goal is to empower them with knowledge so they can recognize, avoid, and report such abuse and understand the serious legal consequences involved.
Lastly, with regard to teenage pregnancy and forced marriage, the rate of early teenage pregnancy in our province is deeply concerning. It is a sad reality that many parents feel compelled to force their children into marriage to preserve the family's reputation, often overlooking the couple's young age, emotional immaturity, and lack of capacity to raise a child responsibly.
And thankfully, the passage of a law prohibiting child marriages is a big step forward because the law criminalizes the arrangement, facilitation, and solemnization of marriage involving individuals under 18 years of age. Thus, in protecting children, particularly girls, from the harmful consequences of child marriages, such as early pregnancy, disrupted education, and severely limited future opportunities.
I just love that acronym, MIND, VAW, the Men's Initiative to End Violence Against Women. Really a very powerful acronym. So let's get to the challenges you faced. What were the biggest challenges, whether cultural or related to the sensitivity of the topics?
Well, with our partnership with the Rotary Club of Nueva Vizcaya South and the host school administrators of Bambang National High School, we did not face any challenges in organizing the forum. The activity was well planned and coordinated with the school who allowed all their students to participate.
So that's very interesting, May. This clearly shows the value of working together with like-minded organizations principle that Zonta actively promotes. So getting back to you, Edna, could you tell us how did you all ensure that the content was age appropriate and engaging for high school students, especially when dealing with such serious and legal subjects?
Oh, yeah. Well, we made sure to present the laws in a way that students could easily understand and relate to. Actually, the lecturer broke down the key provisions using simple everyday language so the students could really imagine the situation, understand how the laws are being violated, and foresee the possible consequences.
And to add, to keep them engaged, we encourage interaction by asking questions throughout the session. By doing so, we engage their interest and make sure they stay focused on the topic.
Wow, so that was a great approach. I think making the law really relatable is really the key to helping young people truly understand and, most importantly, to remember it. So let's get to the impact of the forum. Have you been able to evaluate the impact on the students, such as changes in awareness, attitudes, or actions since the event?
Yes, we did a follow-up, and during this follow-up with the school guidance counselor, she shared some encouraging feedback. Accordingly, the students found the symposium very informative and empowering. It gave them the courage to speak up when faced with difficult situations.
Yeah, and she also mentioned that the students are now more aware actually of exploitative behavior, whether online or in face to face interactions. They have become more cautious in their dealings with others. And more importantly, the forum helped them realize the value of self care and self love.
Oh, wow, that's really very encouraging. And how did the students engage during the forum? Did you receive any feedback that surprised or moved you?
Yes, the students were genuinely happy and appreciative as they gained valuable knowledge about online sexual abuse and exploitation, teenage pregnancy, and forced marriage. Their strong interest in the topics was evident through their active participation during the forum.
Yeah, and let's not forget that despite the challenging conditions, it was an open air venue with over 800 students and with the high temperatures, making it less ideal for learning. Still, they remained engaged and stayed attentive until the closing prayer. So, their patience and enthusiasm truly reflected how meaningful and relevant the discussion was for them.
Wow, that's incredibly powerful. It really shows how deeply the topics resonated with them despite the tough conditions. Finally, we have many members here with us today who may be interested in wanting to do a similar awareness campaign in schools. What are the 3 key steps you'd recommend to them to get started?
Oh, to get it started, we highly recommend that first, partner with school and key stakeholders. Establish a strong collaboration with school administrators, guidance counselor, and local government or community leaders. Their support is crucial for logistics, student engagement, and ensuring that the campaign aligns with school policies and student needs.
Mhm. And don't forget, you have to tailor the content to be user friendly and relatable. You have to present the laws and advocacy topics using simple, age appropriate language. Use real life scenarios, visuals, or even storytelling, to help students easily understand complex issues like online exploitation, child marriage, abuse, violence.
And finally, foster engagement and safe dialogue. Create a space for interactive discussion by encouraging questions, feedback, and participation. Make sure students feel safe, heard, and supported, especially when tackling sensitive topics. Consider follow-up through guidance counselor to measure impact and offer continuing support.
So that's a great roadmap for anyone hoping to create real impact with young people. And May, is there anything else you would like to add before we close?
Oh, wow. Our gratitude is at the highest level because our club is only 5 years old. But you make us feel that indeed we are making a difference and allowed us to imprint our club's name, the Zonta Club of Nueva Vizcaya, to leave a mark in the Zonta International. With that, we are really grateful for recognizing our activity. Thank you, everyone, for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Mayan and Edna, for sharing your insights and experiences. It's clear that your work is not only legally informative, but also deeply empowering for young people. Forums like these are essential in building safer and more aware communities. Congratulations again on this meaningful project. And back to you, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Shanice, and thank you, Mayan and Edna. This was so inspiring. Thank you for taking the time for joining us today. So each year, Zontans around the world make a positive impact, bringing awareness to the issues of violence against women and girls. We have found several clubs that have done amazing work with very simple and targeted actions. That's what we're going to talk about now. During its November meeting, members and guests of the Zonta Club of Houston, also in Texas in the U.S., reaffirmed their commitment to ending gender-based violence by taking the Zonta pledge to say no to violence as part of their 16 days of activism against gender-based violence campaign. If you don't know it, this is the pledge. I will say no to violence against women and girls. I will say no to violence in any form, whether physical, psychological, or via the internet. I will support host a program on gender-based violence. I will learn about gender-based violence found at the Zonta Says No website. I will reflect on what I learned during the 16 days and speak up via social media and with family and friends throughout the year. I will invite men and boys in my family and in the community to take this pledge and to speak up and take action to prevent gender-based violence. This simple but powerful commitment to action is a great way to center your club's advocacy throughout the year. It can also be shared with like-minded organizations and community members. In a spirited display of advocacy and unity, the Zonta Club of Fairfax County, Virginia, also in the U.S., participated in a coordinated postcard campaign in support of the Equal Rights Amendment, or ERA, during their annual holiday gathering in December of 2024. The postcard writing initiative was done in collaboration with the nationwide ERA Coalition. Members came prepared with postcards in hands and heartfelt messages advocating for gender equality and constitutional recognition of women's rights. The Zonta Club of Auburn Woodward in Australia launched its campaign with a yard bombing initiative covering a grove of 20 small trees in Woodendong and 4 large trees in Albury, with knitted and crocheted orange squares. The project, supported by enthusiastic community groups, spread awareness of the campaign's message in a highly visible way. The action included a radio interview and newspaper coverage. From there, at least one club member undertook an action each day to raise awareness during the 16 days. Those actions included the following. Members brought their signature orange ladies to a men's shed event in support of the campaign. High school students helped pack birthing kits for distribution. Club members participated in the Auburn Park Run, raising awareness for the cause. Members networked at the Fell Timber Community Breakfast, selling handcrafted Orange Lady merchandise to support their initiatives. Members joined a walkthrough in Auburn's Main Street alongside the Domestic Violence Unit of the Murray River Police District and a Rotary Club. A member of the club attended the Zonta Says No online summit, reinforcing their commitment to global change. These are all small actions with powerful impact, and we urge all clubs, no matter how big or how small, to really look to see how their club can take action and have real and direct impact. So for our next section, please welcome my colleague Tanya as she leads a discussion about how a club's action had real-time impact. Take it away, Tanya.
Hello, everyone. I am thrilled to introduce our next guest, Tyra Obobi from the Zonta Club of Accra in Ghana. Tyra is a long-standing Zontian with 16 years of service and is an active member of her club's advocacy committee. This dynamic club has been a powerful force in raising awareness of gender-based violence, especially among young people. Just a brief summary of the project. Their recent project combined two impactful initiatives. First was a school awareness campaign that educated junior high students on how to recognize, report, and escalate cases of gender-based violence using real-life scenarios to guide discussions. Students were encouraged to make reports directly to their school heads, initiating real-time follow-up and support. And the second part of their campaign culminated in a mass orange illumination of Ghana's National Theatre, led by the Zonta Club of Accra Jubilee, with strong collaboration from Zonta Accra too, creating a striking visual statement of solidarity and demonstrating the power of working together for greater impact. Today, we'll be asking a few questions so that you can learn from their experience and get inspired to bring a similar initiative to your own community. Welcome, Tyra. And to start off, how did your club decide to take on this campaign focused on gender-based violence awareness in schools and the National Theatre illumination? What inspired the idea and what helped you to move forward with it?
Thank you very much for welcoming me on board. And I'm happy to represent the two clubs, Accra 2 and Accra Jubilee. Jubilee handled the illumination of our iconic building, while Accra 2 handled the outreach to the youth. We decided on the youth because in 2023, for the same period, on the 16 days of activism, we had spoken to market women. And in that interaction, we realized that there was a need to get in touch with the youth, to hone in with the youth, because we needed to catch them young, because there was a lot happening in communities that most people had overlooked. And if we could get the youth at that tender age, I mean between the ages of 11 and 15, we can initiate them into advocates for change, for positive change. We can create awareness with these people and they can help us drive the information and the education among the people. So that is one key reason why we honed in on the youth. And thankfully, we have 3 schools where Zonta is known. Zonta is known in these 3 schools because Zonta had chosen girls from there for education, for scholarship in their education. So in fact, the girls are known as the Zonta girls. So it was very easy getting into the school and getting the authorities there to prepare them for our interaction. So these are, this is a summary of what prompted us to go to the school. And for the illumination of the iconic building, we decided on an iconic building because that is what will raise awareness. That is what will trigger conversation. That is what will raise the buzz as to what is happening. Why is this building that we know, we all see every day, coming up in orange? So then the buzz starts. People ask questions, and then we can drive our information and communication on 16 days of activism. These are the reasons why we chose these 2 projects.
That's wonderful and inspiring because now by creating this program, you have a new avenue for attracting new Zontians and young Zontians into our club, which we're all looking for, and collaboration. Collaborating with other clubs is so important. When we join together, we can do so much together. And so it's so great to see that both of these projects came together and that you were able to work on them. So what was one expected challenge that you encountered, whether at the school level or during the theater illumination, and how did your clubs handle it?
Tadia, that is a great question because we realized that the issues that should have created challenges, because we had planned, because we had collaborated, it all turned out to our advantage. Because if you look at the school per se, we contacted them, we planned with what slides to use as resource material, and so it made it very easy. And because the school authorities were also a part of the program, they prepared the children. They got us the right mix. And let me say here that we had both girls and boys. We didn't limit it to girls. We had both boys and girls being brought together to hear our message. So with the slides that we, the members of the club, prepared, we were able to drive our education material to them. And the exciting part of it is the reaction of our children or the youth, because I was surprised when I saw them seated with their notebooks and their pens ready to take notes. And the kind of questions they asked us, it just told us that we were on the right path. So with planning, timing, and collaboration, we realized that we were able to achieve a lot. Collaboration with the school authorities, because they also know Zonta already, they knew how to set up for us, and it really paid off. And with the team collaboration, I mean, between our two clubs, that is Jubilee and Accra 2, it turned out that the illumination project was capital intensive. So in situations where we have capital intensive projects, it's very good. It's advisable to have collaboration among clubs. And that is how Zonta Club of Accra teamed with Zonta Club, Accra Club Jubilee, to come up with the illumination project, and it came out successful. It was so beautiful when this iconic building we know in solid, should I say gray color, was all lit up in orange. That was a height of success for us.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's so wonderful. Yes. I mean, many hands make light work, so collaboration is
Exactly.
absolutely the key when you're doing large projects,
Projects,
having
yeah.
to get large things happening. So I love that you guys collaborated, and having had that, is this like going to be an ongoing program that will happen with the students because you have that relationship established already within the schools?
Yes, we intend to extend it because we are now gaining traction. Students are getting aware of these issues, and you cannot leave them high and dry at this time. We have to penetrate and make sure that the messages have gone home. And in the illumination project, where we have started lighting up buildings in our country, people are asking questions. We dare not abandon these projects. We just have to go on with them until we have reached as many people as we can. And I must mention here the collaboration also with the media. They were a part of the collaboration because they played up whatever we were doing in the media, in traditional media, in social media. I mean, across platforms, we were felt, and people got to hear about Zonta and what we are doing about Zonta Says No and 16 days of activism against gender-based violence.
Well, that's wonderful. I mean, that leads me into my next question, especially with the media. How did you guys measure or observe the impact of this project, especially awareness raised among students and the public visibility through the theater lighting? We want to hear in real world. Obviously, having media coverage was a key aspect of that.
Yes, I think I preempted you in that question, but we have had a lot of feedback, responses from people who would really want to work with us. In fact, on the day of the program where we engaged with the youth, and now they are not only asking about pursuing or extending the 16 days of activism awareness program, they are asking, when is Zonta going to offer scholarship to cover as many of them as possible? For me, that is a mark of success. It means that our message has gotten home, is driven home among the youth, and we must work hard at it. And with media, in fact, when you go across platforms and you saw where these activities were being reported from, you knew that we had hit the nail right on the head. So I think we have achieved a lot of success in the two programs.
Wonderful, wonderful. So if there are some clubs that are listening today that are inspired and want to do a similar awareness campaign in schools, in their local schools, or a public illumination, what are 3 key steps that you can give them to get started? Just a few quick actions to set them on the right path.
Yes. Sister Zonshans, I have 3 key points: time, planning, and collaboration. Time, because you need to plan, you need to build your resource material to use. For us, with Accra 2, we had to go into a research library to collate media reports that had been carried on years before on violence against women, particularly. We got about 14 slides, and we showed these 14 slides on our Instagram page. Every day we shared one so people would know what had gone on. So you have to prepare your material, and that is it with the time. Because if you start early, you can meet the November dates. Sometimes you stay too long, and before you realize, November is with you and you haven't done anything. So you have to start planning early, and that is where time comes in. It takes me quickly into planning. What are the resources you need? Which are the schools you're going to go to? Which iconic building, if it's illumination, which iconic building are you going to use? For this one in particular, it's the National Theatre, and it's so strategically located for the benefit of human traffic as well as vehicular traffic. So people were driving past and saw it. People were walking past and saw this building and the color it had been lit up in. So you need to be strategic in whatever building or iconic building. I say it should be iconic. Then the questions will come up. So it's time, planning, and then collaboration is the third point. Collaboration, because when the project is capital intensive, you cannot go it alone. And together we can raise the banner of Zonta, the colors of Zonta. So this is where I end my presentation and saying that collaboration is so important. Collaboration is key. So it's TPC, time, planning, and collaboration.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much, Tyra, for sharing your insights and the incredible work your club is doing. Your dedication and your collaboration with other clubs is truly inspiring, and we appreciate you being here with us today. If anyone wants to create a similar club, Tyra has generously will be providing her contact details, which will be emailed to you tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Tanya.
And I give the floor back to my colleague, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Tanya, and thank you, Taria. That was really very inspiring, and what great tips about collaboration and time and being aware of all of these things. Thank you so much for your insights. So each year, Zonshans around the world seek to orange the world, as we heard, to help bring visual awareness to the issue of gender-based violence. For some communities, however, lighting buildings and bridges is no longer ecologically sustainable. So here are some examples of how clubs are using visual presentation to generate awareness via media. The Zonta Club of Montevideo in Uruguay launched a city-wide poster campaign on city buses as part of their 16 days of activism. Bright orange posters featuring Zonta's logo and a helpline was placed inside buses, ensuring the message reaches women in need throughout the community. The club writes that securing permission from the bus company also served to introduce Zonta's mission and the goal of the campaign to a broader audience. Thousands of eyes on Zonta Says No across New Zealand was the goal for District 16. Vast Billboards, a leading outdoor digital advertiser, supported District 16's Zonta Says No campaign. Through the efforts of Anna Arps and Philippa Elliott, 10 digital billboards displayed Zonta's powerful message across the country for 7 to 9 days, significantly boosting the Zonta Says No campaign's visibility in New Zealand. Several clubs have taken to creating content on YouTube regarding harassment, sex, child marriage, and other forms of violence against women. One such club is the Zonta Club of Ottawa in Canada. It participated in the 16 Days campaign to end gender-based violence with social media messages to raise awareness of issues of violence against women and girls. The club wanted to mark the 16 days in a way that might resonate with the community directly. 16 club members made a difference by speaking out on aspects of violence against women and children that was particularly meaningful to them. Use of pre-scheduled Facebook postings for each of the 16 days of activism, as well as liking and reposting Zonta International posts during the 16 days is another way to engage in social media. In the next and final segment, my colleague Tanya Hughes-Krems will speak with a club about unique use of traditional materials, creating a powerful symbol during the 16 days of activism. Tanya?
Oh, thank you very much, Lisa. So it's my pleasure to introduce to you all our next guest, Eva Brents from the Zonta Club of Jelgava in Latvia. This club's members created a very unique as well as powerful display by creating 22 life-sized straw dolls that were exhibited across public spaces to raise awareness of all forms of gender-based violence and offer information on where to seek help. Their 2024 project for the 16 days was particularly successful because it included multiple components. So first, as we just showed you in the picture, they had the public art display called Straw Doesn't Hurt, But a Woman Does, Recognize Violence. And that highlighted real life scenarios of the many forms of violence against women that we could see in our communities. Second, the campaign included the club's annual From Heart to Heart award ceremony, recognizing activists and professionals who made significant contributions to protecting women's rights in Jelgava City and in the district. And third, and I think this is something that we can all learn more about and do more in our own clubs. Third, they had an initiative that received strong attention from the local press and the TV news, created a lot of awareness and spread their really important message. So we have an opportunity to hear from Eva, who's with us today. And if we want to learn more about how their club created this experience, that we might do something similar in our community, or how we can generate more media interest and attention for our projects, we're going to have a discussion with Eva and hear how they did those things. So welcome, Eva. So Eva, let's start at the beginning. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what inspired this really unique idea for the straw doll installation and what helped your club to move forward?
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. And actually, I would say that we wanted to do something for ourselves to remember, and that we first were thinking that, yes, we are thinking about ourselves. And we are very thankful to also to Riga Zonta Club, who did the Orange Shoes campaign previous year. And so we wanted to continue. And actually, we had different opportunities and we had different proposals. Like, for example, some club members said that we should have rose stems near the governing institutions like a cabinet of ministers and etc. And several other proposals. But then we understood that actually rose stems is not very sustainable. You have to buy hundreds of roses, and this is not good to nature. And therefore, somehow we came up with the idea of creating these large-scale straw dolls, each holding a story of violence. Different forms, psychological, economic, mobbing, bossing, sexual, and etc. And also each straw doll has a name, and it has a QR code where you can scan, and you can actually call if you have some problems, so for help.
Thank you, Eva. I think that's very interesting because you had this powerful display, but it was also interactive because you had the QR codes
Mhm.
and as well as educating, it also sent people information about where they could go for help. So lots of really powerful components in your art installation. Tell us about um, any unexpected challenge that you encountered during the project. So, what came up that maybe you weren't thinking you might have, and how did your club handle it?
Yeah, to be honest, not all the club members favored the idea, and somehow, not only our club but also people we were talking about, they were afraid of these violence issues. Like we were going to seminars and we were so enthusiastic and we are saying yes, now we will have these dolls and stories, and then they just come and they say, but sorry, this is not about us. No, no, no. If you
Mhm.
have some psychological or economic issues, actually that's your fault. So this is not about us, and please don't hold the name of us for the doll because every doll has a name. Because somehow they said yes, if you are suffering from violence, you are a bit a loser, and this was somehow uh, a bit really disgusting for us, and this is what we understood, that we should probably provide statistics and say that now violence is not about someone far away. Actually, it can happen to all of us and everyone, and we should speak, and we shouldn't be afraid to speak and say yes, that actually I have also suffered from violence. And therefore, yes, also the dolls, they had the names, but it was always like the name is changed, not like Anne
Mhm.
has suffered from, I don't know, violence, but yes, Anne name has been changed. Uh, this was somehow unexpected because before that I thought, yes, that people should understand, but no, they are afraid.
Right. Right. That's the real impact of doing projects like this, isn't it? Is the ability to reach other people who don't have the same understanding we do, and to be able to provide that education in a new way, in a way that maybe they wouldn't have encountered it before, and have people think a little bit differently. And the stories that you talk about related to your straw dolls, you collected those from the community. So those were real life
Yes.
stories from your community, correct?
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah.
We got stories. We made also a campaign before in Facebook, so we had like people could say not about themselves, but again probably my neighbor or someone, because they are sometimes quite afraid to talk about themselves. We of course had psychologists, psychiatrists, and different kinds of specialists who also provided with stories. And therefore, we created 12 stories actually out of 200. So we
Oh,
selected probably most of the most typical stories to our opinion that were really could happen to all of us. Yeah,
yeah.
and that is what it was. And in addition, every day we posted the story, and we also posted that there is statistics. For example, if there is like sexual violence, how many people have suffered from it? Or if there is psychological violence, also how many people already, according to statistical data. And imagine Latvia has less than 2 million people, so we're a small country. But already us, we have more than 100,000 people who have officially suffered. And so when we go to again to this data, we understand that this problem is everywhere. It's not something like, far away. There live people who suffer and we don't know about them. No, it can happen to all of us, and it's very close to us, probably.
Thank you, Eva. That's a nice transition to my next question for you,
Mhm.
actually, because I wanted to find out more about how you were able to generate press interest and TV and other media interest. And as you mentioned, you did a lot on social media. So, what were some of those things that you did that you thought were particularly impactful? And maybe what are some tips that you would give other clubs that you think they would be able to apply to their 16 days of activism projects?
Yeah, actually, the attention was really considerable, unexpectedly, and we had like 3 times more views of Facebook than we usually have, and we appeared in the local news, like in the in the national TV news, and of course, even in the news 200 kilometers away. But Latvia is so small that 200 it's a lot, and so therefore we were very impressed about this press information and press also interest. Actually, we didn't expect, so we were afraid. But what I think what we did a Facebook live stream. It's still available. Actually, in the Zonta Club, you can still see it. It was also viewed not during the event, but also afterwards by more than 400 people. That's a lot for us. And we also got a considerable number of news because we had every day we posted in our Facebook the story about the straw doll with a QR code. So every day there is a story. For example, doll Catherine, and there is like a story about her, and so on. And also, I think that one of the main information, like also one of the previous reporters told, actually we had 2 events joined together. One was the straw dolls, and the second was from heart to heart. This is a campaign that we are also doing every year, is that we are giving recognition to people who are dealing with violence. For example, this year this was a policeman, and these were people from Orpan's court. So 4 people, we got awards, and probably also this, of course, made a bit of more of our recognition. And we had some financing, both from Jelgava City Council and also from some companies. And every post, of course, we made like hashtags to them, and this helped, I believe.
Yeah, thank you, Eva. I think you highlighted some very smart things. One was that in your posts, you were also highlighting your partners or the people who supported you. So you were using hashtags or you were tagging them or doing other things to help to spread your message beyond maybe your normal group. You were doing something every day, algorithms on social media like that. So they'll continue to promote the things that you're promoting, focused on something about your installation every day. And then you partnered it with another event with your Heart to Heart Awards, which helped to amplify your message even more. So a lot of good things there. We have time for just one more quick question, Eva, and that is we have your 3 key steps to success and your contact information. We're going to be emailing that out to everyone tomorrow, along with everything from the session. But what would you say, just briefly, what is your one top tip? If someone was going to do something similar to what your club did, what would be your one tip that you would provide?
Very easy. Believe what you do, because there will be many oppositions, there will be opponents, but you have to carry your event in your heart.
Thank you. That was beautifully said. Thank you, Eva. All right. Thank you again, and thank you for your time today. All right. With that, I am going to turn it over to my friend Lisa.
Thank you so much, Tanya, and thank you so much, Eva. That was so inspiring and just something to really think about in terms of fighting against opposition to awareness programs is something we all need to consider as well. Okay, so before we end, we want to give you some next steps as you plan for 2025 for 16 days of activism. As you have heard, you have to start early when you're planning these programs. So first step, pick an action that is enthusiastically embraced by your members. Without the enthusiasm, it becomes hard work. Use the Zonta Says No tool guide as a guide. It can provide you with ideas, planning, and budget templates, as well as some sample letters and press releases. Remember to include others. Many hands make light work. Try working with other clubs, districts, like-minded organizations, any local Z or Golden Z clubs. Look for and nurture your allies. Share your story. Once your story is uploaded onto the Zonta International webpage, it can be shared across social media platforms with just a click of the button. And this will really expand your reach and your advocacy outlook for not only your communities, but in neighboring communities and for people who are looking for action items to go with this campaign against gender-based violence. Have fun. Well, this issue is both urgent and somber. The realization is that you need to remember to embrace your Zonta spirit and be a joyous warrior in the fight to end gender-based violence against women and girls. Lastly, the 16 days of advocacy is a starting point to bring awareness and change in your community. In order to drive that forward, your club really should look at and build on opportunities to continue this work throughout the year. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for participating with us today. And now back to Christina.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I feel very proud of what we are achieving together all over the world. It is amazing. To all of you who are participants, thanks for joining us today. To Mayan, Edna, Tyra, and Eva, thank you so much for sharing your stories so generously. And last but not least, to my amazing Zonta colleagues, Shanaz, Tanya, Lisa, Tanya, and Shannon. Thanks for everything you do. And remember, the Zonta Says No working group will be nothing without you and your engagement, your knowledge, and your great will to make a change. Thank you so much. I also want to say that on the Zonta Says No webpage, you find this pledge that Lisa were talking about. It's a new tool to end gender-based violence and speak up. You also find some facts there, some useful infographics, and the toolkit for the Orange Lady that we have been talking about before. All this content can be used as training, and that is both internally and externally. And it can also be used as data for articles or lectures, for example. So please use this website, use this content, but also use the contact information that you will receive tomorrow in the email from us. Be curious and make the most out of this inspiration. And for those of you who want more knowledge and more inspiration, there will be more opportunities, I promise. After this session, at the very end, you will see a save the date image that will show you some other opportunities for catching some more knowledge. And to all of you, remember one thing. Together, we will become better, we will become stronger, and more successful in our work toward a more gender equal world that is also free from violence against women and girls. Thank you so much, all of you, and take care. Goodbye.